Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I greet you all according to your time and locations. You'll be watching this video. Yes, my dear viewers, I am back again with another update. So guys, I have a video here I would like we all to watch. But before then, if you're meeting my channel for the very first time, you're highly welcome. Please kindly do well to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your thought on the comment section. Let us know what you think about this video, and I will see you towards the end.
You're welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has challenged the vice presidential candidate of Labour Party, Dati Baba Ahmed, to a public debate following the criticism trailing his condemnation of Baba Ahmed's recent denouncement of President-elect Bola Tinubu, the judiciary, and Nigeria's democracy. Soyinka, in the piece yesterday titled "Fascism on Course," also addressed the censures he is receiving from Obedience, the supporters of Peter Obi, Labour Party's presidential candidate, declaring that the seeds of fascism in the political arena have evidently matured. Baba Ahmed had, in an interview, stressed that whoever swears in Mr. Tinubu as president has ended democracy in Nigeria. Last Wednesday, Soyinka had denounced what he called the menacing utterances of the vice presidential aspirant as unbecoming, adding it was a gladiatorial challenge directed at the judiciary and by implication the rest of the democratic polity. Chris Nwokobia is convener, Country First Movement, and spokesperson of the Obidati Presidential Campaign Organization. He joins us at this point to respond to some of those issues, those emerging issues, including this week's purported suspension of Julius Abure as national chairman of Labour Party and his replacement with one Lamidi Apapa. Good morning, Chris.
Still, it's my pleasure to be
Good to have you in the studio. I mean, we've always been speaking with you here digitally, but good to have you in the studio.
The pleasure is mine.
All right. Yeah. There are issues with the Labour Party. It looks like you guys are under siege. And there are two main issues. I don't know which one you would like to start with. But of course, it's the issue, on the one hand, of what is looking like a turmoil within the Labour Party. Julius Abure, because of a certain court order, has been removed, as a chairman. And we have Lamidi Apapa there, saying that is now the acting chairman, on the strength of the court order. There's also the issue of, you're dealing with Professor Wole Soyinka on the one hand, you're dealing with Lai Mohammed and the federal government on the other hand. Is this about the fact that you have gone to court, or that you are saying things that some of your members are not expected to say?
Steve, clearly it's about the jambalaya of issues. When I discuss these issues about the events of the past 1 week, I laugh, for two reasons. The first is that you remember that praxis, the witch cried last night, the child dies this morning, and you're left with your conjectures. And I've said repeatedly that some folks, some brothers and sisters of ours, have murdered sleep, so they can sleep no more. Those who underestimate the resolve and the fierceness of the Obedience do that at their own peril. Clearly so. Yeah. Because for so long we live in a country that has left the issues that pertains the well-being of the people unaddressed. For so long we have left the fundamental issues of democracy and civil society unaddressed. For so long, leadership has been about me, myself, and I. And so the sweltering harmattan of this content, snowballed first into the NSAS protestation, and then the emergence of the obedient movement. The obedient movement, as it were, and that's what those who are orchestrating all this do not understand, is beyond partisanship. Now that's why it's difficult for them as they orchestrate the troubles in the Labour Party. They fail to understand that there is an army of intellectuals, an army of thinkers, an army of those who truly believe that we can have a new nation, an army of those who believe that a new Nigeria is possible, an army of those who believe that we must take back our country for good. So when they orchestrate, look at where it started from, with Julius Abure particularly. Yes, we agree that he may have made some mistakes, particularly at the level of his home state. Believe me, Edo State is the #1 obedient state in Nigeria. And the people feel offended that they couldn't they couldn't win certain positions, and they blamed it on him. And for that reason, there was turmoil at home. Some people purportedly suspended him and all that. But that has been handled by the party.
No, but
now,
the major issue with him is not just
I'm
not
coming to
delivering.
that.
It's also about the allegation of fraud.
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that, Steve. I'm coming to that, Steve. Now, fundamentally, and you're going to see the way I will take that. Because oftentimes, if you've been involved in partisan politics, which of course I know you've been at some point, you find out that what you call forgery and fraud at this point is a bit like calling the child a bad name so you can spank the child badly. You know, parties substitute candidates. Parties get affidavits, court orders, court injunctions, sometimes in chambers. And that's not forgery. All the parties do that. And that's not forgery. The fact that the Labour Party leadership has not been able to put that effectively before the public is a failure of the spokesperson of the Labour Party per se. I speak for the Big Ten, the Bidati Independent Campaign Group. So the fact that they've not been able to put that properly in the public view is a failure of the spokespersons. Those who are saying, and the court will come out with it. Yeah. Parties all over the world, parties in this, because even in our constitution and in the Electoral Act, the ticket belongs to the party.
That's right.
So they conduct primaries, they field candidates. So when at a certain point the party agrees, along with the candidates, to substitute candidates, they go about it several ways. And one of them is the APC does that, the PDP does that, to come up today to say that, oh, for certain reasons, you're accusing Julius Abure and his executives of forgery. That's a bit preposterous. But let me say here clearly that, like I noted, the witch cried last night, the child dies this morning. All that you see today in the Labour Party is about a fear of a certain political party, and those who hold a mandate that is not truly theirs. I'm minding my words. Those who purportedly won an election but cannot celebrate. Those who, after an election, are still campaigning. Those who are doctoring phone calls and faking information because they want to earn some mileage against a candidate who, as it were, won the election. And that's why we're in court. You asked us to go to court. We're in court. Why not just allow the legal process? Why not just allow the judiciary? Why are you trying to twist the Labour Party? Why are you trying to twist the obedient movement?
That's what they're asking you to do.
The worst. There's a deputy chairman of the party. Yeah. So how can you just from nowhere leapfrog that deputy chairman if, for any reason, the party says, okay, we're going to obey the court order as against the other court order that says we're still in office. If the party wants to do that, there is a deputy chairman who should take over pending like the PDP did. It's just about a desperation of sorts. It's about people who think...
Is Papa not the deputy chairman?
Deputy at what level? You know, the point is, Abure is in South.
Yes.
Apapa is in South. The substantive deputy chairman is the one from the North. You know, this whole thing is an orchestration. Look at the man they suspended, the former publicity secretary coming back on board.
Arabambi.
Yes. Then look at the youth leader that they suspended coming back on board. It's an orchestration of trouble that a certain party intends to benefit from, but it won't work. That's exactly what we're saying.
I think that there's an infiltration, and there's from outside.
They are doing it to the PDP, they're doing it to the Labour Party because we're in court against them. And you see, let me make this very clearly known, that the issues are beyond these politics and these diatribes. The issues are fundamentally clear. On the 25th of February 2023, Nigerians voted for a candidate, and they know the candidate they voted for. That is why there's some kind of melancholy, some kind of uneasy calm, some kind of clearly what you call the piece of the graveyard. The man who they declared winner in the wee hours of the 1st of March, we don't even know where he is. Then what makes it much more curious is that they have found it impossible, almost impossible to celebrate their victory. Now, what they're doing is junketing the world, trying to get lobbyists to make nations congratulate them. Where does that happen? Democracy is a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. If you win the people, they will celebrate your victory. If you didn't win the people, that's why we're where we are. But I tell you, and I want to say this clearly, Nigerians are listening to me, Labour Party is lucky to have a monstrous, fierce and passionate movement, like they have a defense that is watertight, called the Obedient Movement. Most of us are not members of the Labour Party, but we're defenders of the mandate of Peter Gregory Obi. And we're fierce, we're intellectually sagacious. We're good at the internet.
Chris,
we're good at PR management.
Are you not bothered that you the movement may be losing a few key people who probably believed in the candidacy of your candidate, but then they feel that, one, he has lost the election, but he has gone to court. Let's wait and see what the court will decide. And two, they feel that the style of the obedience, especially online, on Twitter especially, it's not just, it's not civil, it's not decent enough. Are you worried that somebody like Professor Wole Soyinka, who by his own confession, had a thing going for Peter Obi and declared, publicly that he didn't want, either of the two candidates, Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has been declared winner, and Atiku, because of the age bracket and the political class that they belong to. But then he's saying that because Obi is not able to call his guys to order, people might be disappointed in you.
Steve, let me say this. There's something about the universe that's absolutely exciting and interesting. The first time we really had a debate on this, it was with you on air. I remember I used the word that the obedience are not unruly. They may be fierce, but not rude. And interestingly, we're back on it. Beautifully, let me say, that if in this contestation, the entire political process, if there is any movement that has been very civil, it's the obedient movement. And I'll tell you why. We have not deployed ethnicity or religion in our debate and contestation. Those who tend to, or who are struggling effusively to brand us as unruly, are the ones who have threatened a particular ethnicity. They are the ones who do ethnic profiling. They are the ones who have divided and polarized our country. We are absolutely civil. And I tell you, when I saw that interview by my boy and mentor, and I say this with all sense of respect, I tell people that I may disagree with you on certain score, but it doesn't change what I feel about you. I listened to that interview by the great Nobel laureate, Professor Wole Soyinka, and I wept for 3 reasons, and I'm going to put it out before Nigerians. My boy and mentor left issues about ethnic profiling, the killing of people and voter suppression in Lagos, and dwelt chiefly on Dati's comment about those who are interested in swearing a man whose mandate perhaps and the declaration of his election, his victory, does not tally with the provisions of our law as a problem. I felt very deeply offended. Then the second one, instead of talking about how those who were declared winners have not stopped the ethnic profiling, he called Dati and his statements a fascist. I felt very strange about it. Then I asked, is the man dead? Because he wrote a book a long time ago, The Man Died in Him, Who Keeps Quiet in Times of Moral Crisis. I asked that question, and I'm asking that question again with all sense of humility. Let me tell you, in 2014, 2015, I was a DG Change Ambassadors of Nigeria, one of the campaign arms of President Muhammadu Buhari. In 2014-2015, the APC, which is presently in power, said worse things than Dati has said. Indeed, my very senior colleague and the substantive Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria today, said that the APC was going to form a parallel government if the PDP were to be declared winners. Some others went as far as saying that it clearly not like the democracy will die should the PDP be declared winners. And I wonder why we have all forgotten all that. And clearly we have the worst electoral larceny in our country's history. Clearly we have the worst electoral fraud in our country's history. Do you know what happened on the 25th of February and what happened on the 18th of March? Beatified Iwu's 2007 elections. That was an election that Yar'Adua openly admitted that was largely flawed. But that election